Well, good morning and welcome to today's Thursday Thought. Today, I'm just going to share some thoughts and some things that are on my mind this week. There's nothing earth-shaking in this particular post, but you might find something that's interesting. Today, I'll meet with a first cousin whom I haven't seen for, I think, about 60 years. I was a teen the last time that I can remember that we were together, and time and distance have kept us apart ever since then. She's coming to Kansas this week, and we will meet in Heston, Kansas for lunch, and we'll get reacquainted. Her dad was my mother's older brother. Now, I know that in our brief visit we're not going to be able to go through all 60 years of separation, but it'll be good to see her and to visit for a time. Now, some of you may be wondering why I would even want to visit a cousin that I hadn't seen in 6 decades. Well, if you're familiar at all with my Mennonite heritage, you may know that Mennonites are known for keeping track of relatives and family histories and maintaining relationships with even what many would call shirt-tail relatives. It's just kind of a thing that we do. Second cousins once removed are family, just as our aunts and uncles. And first cousins, well, they're part of that close family that we claim. So when this opportunity arose to meet up with my cousin, I jumped at the chance and she agreed. I think it's going to be a great visit. On another note, the first of this next week, a celestial phenomenon will take place. It's going to be a total eclipse of the sun that'll be visible through the heart of the United States. Happening on Monday, the eclipse has received, I think, more publicity than the Super Bowl, and it's going to be viewed by millions. The totality path just happens to pass over and near several large population centers in the country, and it's quite extensive and long-lasting, the eclipse is, compared with other eclipses. If the weather's good, we'll go to the Dallas area where my brother lives. His home is actually in the path of totality, but early forecasts are saying that the area is going to be covered with clouds and the eclipse will not be visible there. We'll wait until probably Saturday for the updated forecast, and then we'll decide whether or not to make the trip. But even if we stay in the Wichita area, we should be able to experience probably an 85% or so partial eclipse, which in itself will be special. And I've seen an eclipse, the one in 2017 that passed through Nebraska. We traveled there and viewed the totality. And so if I don't see this one, it's not going to be the end of the world. It's just be nice to be able to see one more in this lifetime and also visit with my brother and my sister-in-law. On a more serious note, as you may know, I handle most of the benevolence requests that we receive here at Riverwalk Church. We have procedures in place to operate that program in ways that we believe will provide the most benefit and will do the most good. Now, there are many churches and agencies that work with those who are in need. There are food pantries, there are places that serve hot meals, there are agencies that help with rent or maybe basic medical needs, help with maybe clothing, laundry, and other needs can be met and are available. But we decided we didn't need to reinvent the wheel, so to speak, so we've tailored our benevolence to help in ways that not many other programs do. We like to primarily help those who are housed, but may be in danger of losing that housing because of an inability to pay a utility bill or perhaps purchase fuel for a vehicle so they can go to work, go to medical appointments, or maybe go to school. Our resources are limited monetarily, and we can't help everyone with everything. We do what we can with what we have. And although we have some leeway in our benevolent help guidelines, we do try to adhere to them as much as possible. Now, one thing we do insist on is that the person who is requesting help come to the building for an interview. It's important for us to meet them and also for them to know where the assistance is coming from. It's also an opportunity for us to maybe dig a little deeper into their situation and perhaps offer some guidance if they're agreeable to that, and even spiritual help if they're amenable to that. So it happens that sometimes we hear of a benevolent need which is certainly genuine, but we have to decline that help because the need is not in accordance with our guidelines, or maybe the need is much greater than we're able to help with. Now, that decision is usually mine alone to make, and it's not a decision that I make lightly. I know something of the real world these people are living in. I am well aware of the daily struggles that they have to just find a meal or a place to stay for the night. I'm cognizant of the high cost of utilities, food, and transportation. And I often hear the defeat and the tones of yet another rejection in the voices, and I see it in the faces of those that I've had to decline. So it's not something that I approach with a cavalier attitude, nor is having to decline help something that I enjoy, especially when children or the physically or mentally challenged individuals may be involved. These kinds of interactions, the ones when I have to decline help, those happen regularly. And each time they happen, I mentally review the situation and I ask myself if I did the right thing. Now, I know that I'll be held to account for what I do in these situations. If not from the church, I know that I'll ultimately have to answer to God for my decisions. It's an awesome thing, and also a bit scary to know the responsibility that I carry for the decisions that I make. Well, take care the rest of this week. Don't look at the sun without eye protection. Check up on relatives you may not have heard from in a while. And above all, be kind to one another and love your neighbor as yourself. As the Jackie DeShannon song from the 60s says, what the world needs now is love, sweet love. Blessings.